as comfortable as you get within yourself, you always have to watch your back. No matter what, you don't know when somebody's watching you or knows or is just plotting against you. You never know. So it's definitely something that is always there. Regardless of how far along you are in your transition, it's always a possibility. I drive a big truck and haul steel. When I was presenting as a woman, I didn't feel comfortable going to certain states. I didn't feel comfortable going in certain truck stops. Now I'm presenting as a man, and I felt very comfortable once I felt comfortable in my transition, like I had gotten to the point where I felt like myself. I've been comfortable out there. But now that I've been outed to everybody, it makes me feel like everybody knows, so when they're talking to me, they're just looking at me like, oh, that used to be a woman. I was working currently he's my old boss. When I first started working for him, I hadn't started transitioning yet. A few months in, I started transitioning. I was getting facial hair. I knew I had to tell him, so I did. And his response to that was, well, I don't know if DOT is gonna accept that or not. Basically, I took that as, just a remark from him just because of the type of guy he was, just to have something to say. But I just kind of ran with it and told him I've already checked, I don't have an issue with it, but this is where I'm at. So he said he was okay with it. Cool. So we went on. He would make little remarks here and there. Like one time we were outside working on the truck and he needed a pocket knife. And he asked me for one. I told him I didn't have one on me. He said, well, you want to be a man, right? Real men carry pocket knives. And just little comments like that he would make. And at the time, I just brushed them off because that's what I was used to doing all my life. It's just brushing stuff off. I think he liked the fact that I was a woman because he used a lot of that time to be, like, he would call my phone constantly, and if I didn't answer because I'm outside strapping a load, he would flip out on me, and he felt he could go off on me. He felt he could attack me, and he did it a lot. And so he felt that sense of control. The further I got into my transition, it's like he started feeling a little more intimidated, or like he couldn't control me as much, or he wasn't on the upper hand. That's when things kind of started going real downhill. There was an instance that happened after I got outed at work where I had to go into the office to grab my paperwork. And this guy who's always been cool with me, he stood there and it was almost like he was purposely just trying to drag up any conversation to have. And he was literally doing this to me from right here down, over and over, from my hip section down to my feet, just trying to see if anything was there. And I could tell what he was doing. And he did it like 8 times. I'm like, are you serious? Like, you can't make it any more obvious than that. So situations like that have happened. I was working for my old boss. We were situating some paperwork out on the yard. And when we were doing that, the foreman was in between us. My old boss was calling me she and her to the foreman over and over. And he was doing it purposefully, like he wouldn't stop. So when I looked at him, it was just kind of like a warning look, hey, stop. And he wouldn't stop doing it. He just kept misgendering me. And so finally I said something. And when I addressed it, he got mad and he turned away from me like he just ignored me and did it again. So I started getting more mad and I said, you need to stop now. And the foreman just kind of looked at me because he's stuck in the middle. He has no idea what's going on. And my old boss looks at me, he's like, what do you want me to call you, a man? I said, what the fuck do I look like to you? And it got more intense from there. It ended up where he was trying to fight me on the yard. All I could tell him was, I'll call him, get you kicked off the yard. I was trying to stay calm in that moment. He he was out there yelling, trying to fight me in front of everybody. It didn't stop there. I went to work daily, and he would do little stuff to antagonize me every day. He would block me in places that we would go get unloaded. Like, there's only a certain way out, and he would sit there with his truck and make sure he blocked me in. He would make sure that when he pulled into place, he only pulled in halfway, so he knew I was coming next and wouldn't be able to pull in all the way. And my tail end would be hanging out, and it was just always stuff like that. Going and talking about me to the other forklift drivers, you know, it was just daily something. And then I had other people starting to come at me, just trying to cause problems, just because it started trickling down the line. But it sent me, you know, that constant struggle, that constant worry about what's coming tomorrow, what do I have to deal with now. I started having to carry my phone on me. I'm out here physically trying to strap loads, you know, on the yard, in the dirt, trying to carry my phone around while doing this physical work, just so I could have the camera on at all times. Because I was trying to catch everything that he did, but I would always miss it. I have a video where we were on the highway, and he slammed on his brakes and he started swerving in front of me just to play with me and blocked me, and he just kept going back and forth like that and kept brake checking me. And the slower I went, the slower he would go, just to play with me. So that mentally tore me down. The constant worry, the stress, the anguish from it, you know, worried about what other people were gonna do at work, or I was scared at times. I go to work at 2:30 in the morning in the pitch black dark. So at 2:30 in the morning, there's not very many people there. I have to get out, strap my loads. You don't know who's around, you don't know who's pissed off. There's accidents that happen with the forklifts all the time. Well, not all the time, but I mean, people accidentally get ran over by a forklift at nighttime. All kinds of things. I ended up having to watch my back. I was so wrapped up in those moments, I couldn't think of anything else. After I transitioned, I'm like, this is it. I got it from here, you know. I can take any heat that comes my way, but then that happened and I couldn't take that one. That happening at work tore my life apart in every way possible. It wrecked my life. Mentally, emotionally, any friendships I had, I was so depressed that I didn't keep up with anybody. Relationship-wise, that's just impossible because I was so focused on me and what I was going through, not purposely, but I was depressed. All I could see is what was going on and how I felt. I couldn't see anything else. Even going to work, I was still going to work like that, and all I could think about was what's coming next, just how far down I was. It broke me financially because just things kept happening. Then I was paying for doctors to try to get through the depression, and I kept losing more loads, and it just went downhill. No matter who I am, no matter what I do, that constant beat down. And no matter how far I got in life, bam, there it is again. Depression and anxiety has been a battle my whole life. Anxiety has just gotten worse, but I never let it take me over. Like, I always just wipe it away, I fix it, you know? That time with my depression, it just completely took me over. The situation with work, I couldn't control that one. The first week after that happened, the mill tried to keep us separate. And I was the one that got sent to places we don't deliver to on a regular basis because they take more time. And so I don't get paid per hour, I get paid per load. And even if they take 4 hours to unload one load, I still get paid the same amount of money as I would if they took 1 hour. So those are the places for a whole week that I got sent to. And then after that, it seems like we just lost loads, or I lost loads. But it just trickled down the line. It seemed like the further I went into this, the more loads I lost. The harassment had stopped. Just recently, but it had stopped, and that was the biggest hurdle. So I've gotten better mentally. In transition, I've definitely noticed a difference in respect as far as presenting as woman or a man, you definitely get respected more as a man. From other men, you get approached more, you get seen more. They see me as one of them now. When I was presenting as a woman, there was a lot less acknowledgement. You actually get heard. They don't ignore you and push you off to the side. There's definitely male privilege for sure.